Hey everybody, been a while since I've done a drive and chat, drive and talk, whatever the heck I was calling it, and I'm taking a little road trip today to look at what appears to be a pretty extensive comic and toy collectible collection. The lists I got were incredibly long. We'll talk more about that maybe in a later video today, my trip home. So anyway, I'm taking a road trip there. I thought it'd be a good time. So, and there might be a follow-up video just for that. 2 videos in one day. Woo! I might do one either way, if this works out or not. I think people like to hear that kind of stuff, so we'll see. But, generally, when I was doing these drive videos, we've only done a couple, I think, a few. I use it to kind of deliver an update on what we're doing at the shop, how things are going. So let's get into it. It is September now. I think the last one we did was maybe June. It's been a while. Shop's doing great. We're doing fine. I'll say great because I am very happy. But we're going to get into some things and we'll talk about, where we're at like we always do. So let's just do it because I'm starting to babble. Let's talk numbers because you guys know I love numbers. Numbers, we are year over year for last year, we're actually flat now, flat. We did the first half of the year start up high. We were trending with, about 17% growth over last year. That's flattened out. Now, I'm not alarmed. This is why I say things are fine, but actually great. So, I look at numbers. I know what happened last year. August and September of last year, July, that was all insane. It was like a buying frenzy. And we're always buying at the shop. But when I say frenzy, we just kept hitting some great stuff. We had 2 or 3 phenomenal comic collections come in. We had some great toy collections. We were picking a barn. We're going back there again. We were doing stuff like that and buying box truck loads of toys. We're not really doing that right now at this point in the year. We're buying a lot, but we also had that crazy G.I. Joe collection. So all of that adds up. But to flip, we were up earlier in the year for similar reasons. It's cyclical. I bought at least one phenomenal Silver and Bronze Age collection, and we sold through that and did fantastic. We sold through a lot of it really fast. So there was some other things like that boosted us up. But with all that being said, as I mentioned before, we're still not doing shipping, claims, holds. We have not, this is something that I did not talk about in the last video. At this point last year, I think we did 4 sidewalk sales. So, that's a big difference right there. Those sidewalk sales generated good money, depending on how, which one you looked at, the sidewalk sale itself. Some were great, some were, hey, we got rid of some stuff and made some extra cash for the day, But what they always did was generated massive days inside the store. We just haven't done it. We haven't really had the need and me personally, the want. It was miserable last year being out there in that heat on a couple of those. We had 2 of them were pretty nice days, 2 of them were miserable. Even with ending, I know we did one, I think we ended at 1 o'clock or something, 2 o'clock, so that we tried to get out a little earlier. It was still bad. So we take those out of the equation with the other stuff. Also, we stopped selling Funko Pops. This time, last year was the end of our 75% off Funko Pop sale so that we could get rid of them and get them out of the store. Funko Pops were like $40,000 to $45,000 a year in revenue for our store. So that was a big thing to cut out. Now, there were two factors that made me want to get out of that. Was I felt the market was getting volatile, and I still think it shifts too much. You know, and then the other large reason was the real estate that they were taking up in the store. And, you know, at one point they were confined to a small area, and, you know, it's my own fault because I decided to start buying these massive collections, you know, 400, 500. We bought 750 pops from one person. You know, I decided, well, we're going to dip our toes into it a little more like a year before we quit selling. But then when the prices started dropping and it all, you know, and then millions of them went to landfills and all that stuff, I just wanted to get away from it. So the flip was all that money that we missed out by, or missing, you know, removed from Funko Pops in our store has been replaced by comics. That gave us more real estate to get more comics out, and that has offset that. So, I mean, essentially what I'm saying when I say the shop is great and all I'm delivering is that we're riding flat numbers wise, we're working less. I'm definitely working less. We just have less on our plate. We have less to worry about, less to coordinate, you know, less money spent on shipping supplies and postage, which obviously for the most part we did recoup in shipping fees, but still, that does make it a little easier for bookkeeping as well. So that's all gone, and I'm happy. Like I said, we're great. What else with the shop? I don't know. We're, you know, stuff moves slow in the ways of changes that I want to make and upgrades. You know, we're always ongoing. There's not much left that I can really do inside the space that we have. I do have some more fixtures I've had sitting in the back room that I want to get out and stuff like that. But we did, just a few months ago, we re-signed our lease. We're going to be there for another 3 years. I just did not want to take on the trouble of moving at this time. That was a total catch-22 because we desperately need more space. We have 24 to 2,600 feet of retail space, and as you guys know, over the 3 years that we've been there, we have done almost everything we can to utilize every single inch in there and then some. And it is it's packed. It's really packed, and I'm going to come back to the space ordeal as it relates to something else here in a minute. You know, we expanded and opened those other 3 rooms over the course of the last 2 years and just filled them and continue to fill them, and, you know, things like that. So I wanted a bigger space, and then on top of that square footage, you know, we have, it's another 12 to 1,400 square feet, which, you know, our back room, which we pay a premium for because we're essentially paying for storage and processing space and, you know, 2 little desks at a retail square footage rate. So, you know, that space cost me a lot of money, but the convenience of having it there, and that doesn't include storage that we actually do have off-site too. It's very beneficial, I think, just the time and the ease. And, you know, somebody walks in and says, do you have this? Oh, you know what? I do in the back room. It's a lot easier to get from the back room than the like, hey, give me 15 minutes, I'll run over to our storage units and go dig it out and bring it over, you know. So it's better. It's also better, you know, when we have more than 2 people on the days that we have more than 2 people working inside the shop. You know, we're not all crammed behind the counter. We have multiple workstations in the back. But that whole area, aside from those couple of little workstations and our little kitchen area, there's a minimum 1,000 square feet packed with mostly product that's priced and ready to go. So then we go back to the other space that's full. That's why we just, when we can, we cram as much in there. And sorry, not sorry, but you guys get overloaded with picture posts of stuff going out into the shop, which I don't know. I mean, our engagement dipped a little bit over the last several months, so I don't know if it's because we're doing less of it, or if that engagement was higher because we were offering shipping and claims. And obviously our numbers have gone, well, not really. In the beginning, they dropped down on our social media following. They dipped down a little bit, and a lot of that I know was people are like, well, if you're not shipping, then there's no point, and that's fine. But then we jumped way up by like another 1,000 followers over the last 7 months, so that's fantastic. More than offset what we lost due to that. So yeah, that's all. I think I got into the weeds a little bit there, but it was a hard decision. Like literally, I renewed the lease at the last minute, which was going to leave me in a bad position to move fast to move, but if that was the case, I had to go back and forth and weigh my options, I guess, and what was best for us right now. And so we're stuck. We are where we are. So that is also the reason why, when we're talking about space, why we have maybe sometimes a little more sales. I'm not sure on that. Last year, we had more sales than I ever have, 2020 excluded. There was a rough patch there just for survival mode. But last year, 2023, we gave out over $50,000 in discounts through our sales. $50,000. That hurts, man. It hurts me. It's great for you guys, and there's two reasons I do a sale, and that was always why I always did at least one sale a year before the Black Friday sale. That wasn't to participate in Black Friday. That was to say thank you to all of you that support us, that come in and you spend $2, you spend $500, you spend $1,000 a month. All of you guys and gals and kids and everything. We're going to talk about kids too, and just how that base has grown so much in the shop. That was always just to say thank you, really. I don't do anniversary sales. I don't do gimmicky sales. I don't there's some stores, and I'm not naming like a shop, I just mean stores in general. They almost train the customer base to wait for the sale, and I'd rather surprise you. That's why there's generally no notice until the sale starts. Because obviously, as a retailer, I don't want to announce the sale's coming next week, and then our store just dies and treads for a week until that sale kicks off, and there's a line outside the door the first day. But last year, those sales, that was, except for the Funko Pop stuff, that was, and this year too, it's space. We only do it because we need space. Our revenue's fine, our sales are fine. We need space, and with the foot traffic that we get, which continues to grow, so we're riding a little flat, as I said in numbers. I might bounce around a bit if you guys don't know that yet. But our transactions are once again up. So the downside of that is our average ticket sale is a little down, which will fluctuate. Again, it all depends on the collections we get. And if I'm buying a comic collection and I start pulling out comics worth thousands of dollars, and one guy buys one or one person buys two, that starts to change that average ticket. It skews it, drastically. But we're getting more and more people in, and we're starting to see more and more people find us. Well, I mean, that's been the case, but every day somebody new, 10 new people walk in, that's fantastic. So we're gonna keep doing what we can there, and we've kind of been running dry on advertisement for a couple of months. Our billboards have come down. We haven't run any social media ads, and we're still doing just fine. So we're chugging along. So once we start kicking all that back up, I'm not going back to the billboards for the moment, and we're mostly because I might look at some different locations if we do it. But those were up for 6 months, so that was a pretty penny. That was a lot of money. And so that's why we do sales, to make space. And it always works. It does. And that's why I've even done, we've done a couple of sales this year where we're targeted to certain things. We did the loose toy sale, I don't know, back in March or something like that. Just because I think it was 9 tubs full of loose, priced and ready to go figures that we just had nowhere to go. And I'm doing less and less shows. Literally, I have one show on my schedule, one event for the rest of the year. That's going to be QuadCon in St. Charles. I decided one show a couple years ago. I didn't decide. I was a fill-in. There was one show we were doing which would still be beneficial to us, but for some reason, I'm not trying to say this the wrong way, but I guess they don't want us there anymore. I don't know, because I was very open and wanted to work and participate in the event, and it's gone for me. No ill will, nothing negative was said. There was no confrontation. Just seems like it fell off. And then another show we're dropping out of. I've been doing that show. It was the first show I ever did. That's the Shrewsbury St. Louis Comic Book Show, Spectre Club, whatever name it's going by now. I like my Sundays, so that's a big thing. I don't get, a lot of extra downtime. So picking up a day, loading up, lugging stuff in, driving, 45 minutes round trip, I do that all the time. But it just, when you add the whole day up, I'd rather have my days. But I want to encourage everybody, still go check out that show. And if you haven't been in a long time, since, let's say you haven't been since pre-COVID, you haven't been since 2019 or before that, go give it a check out, man. Dave and Spike are doing a good job with that show. They have really changed the direction of it. I think it is more comic focused again. Not that it wasn't, but it seemed to be like there were some flea market dealers occasionally, and just it wasn't always a ton of inventory to look at there. And now it's packed. It's wall-to-wall comics, and there's another room open that wasn't before that has more comics. And you can find toys and some toys and some pops there. But if you're hunting for books, go check it out. Give them a few bucks to get in. Support the show. It is the longest running comic book show in the area. So give them some love. Go find their Facebook page too. They need some followers. Spread the word for them. So then let's get back to me, because that's what it's all about. So I'm doing, and then the only thing we have left, like I said, is the QuadCon in St. Charles. And the reason we're sticking with that show, one, go check out that show. Go find the page. Give them some support too. I think here soon we should have some flyers for $1 off in the shop for his admission the day of the show. So come get those after you buy some comics. That is literally, it's less than 10 minutes from my house. For us, the show fits great for what we take there now, because it is a little atypical. It is not like one show or the other that we're not doing anymore. It's a good mix, and I have success when I plan to take certain stuff that I do get rid of it. We have a good success rate there. It's a solid show for us. John does a good job. Lots of dealers. So there we go on that. Back to, so we're doing less shows. Still not doing eBay, still not doing TikTok, and trying to generate sales that way. So there we are. I think we're good on the numbers. I'm going to pause for a second and try to figure out what else I might have had to say. I'm kind of losing some of that, but so that's a catch. That was the other catch, was with doing less conventions, I have less options to offload. I mean, I could always do a sidewalk sale, and trust me, there was a couple times we kicked around some ideas for that. But what we recently did here was just essentially, I pulled out some dead stock from the shop and put it in one of our storage units. You know, we have a bunch of stuff that it just went dead. Our base has seen through it. For the real estate that it was taking up, it wasn't worth the space versus, you know, once a month getting a $5 figure sold out of it. So we took that stuff and took it to the storage unit. You'll see that at QuadCon. We're going to have some blowout sales there. It's all stuff not in the store that we're taking there just to essentially dump. We're going to do it half off and get rid of it. So you guys can find that in October. And then, so yeah, gosh, I am sorry, guys. ADHD maybe, I don't know. So there we are. You know, we've got a little over a quarter left of the year, and we're always going to push strong. Part of the reason I really want to try making more of these videos and other stuff, like I bought equipment years ago to start doing certain stuff and making content for here, for the socials, and on YouTube. We've had a YouTube channel for several years now, and I think there's all like 3 or 4 videos on there. I just don't utilize it. And that's really just to help. You know, I have no delusions of grandeur that we're going to get famous and run a great podcast, but it's just to help kind of spread the word and really share some information and have fun with it, really. You know, it'd be nice to get some people to interact with us and do things, something a little different than just the normal, here's some books, thanks for your money, you know, type of thing. And then, oh gosh, now I'm going to want to delete this and start over after 22 minutes because I feel like I'm stumbling too much. And part of that might be because this is the longest I've gone on. Usually 7 minutes is my drive to work, not Springfield, Illinois from St. Louis. So, yeah, I don't know. Like we talked about space. I talked about the fixtures. I came back to that. Kids, there we go. So one thing we've definitely noticed over the last couple of years, you know, maybe 3 years ago, if you just, you know, the comments were made about, like, you know, just the kids that come into the shop, and I'd have to correct people. And it's usually people that don't know that we're in the, you know, not in the industry or into collectibles or anything like that. They always assume that I dealt with kids all day, that we were doing a customer base, you know, for children, you know. And I would tell them, you know, like 98% of what we deal with is dudes, you know, adult males. And maybe a little less, 5% adult women. And then you got kids were very small fraction. Woo! Has that changed? And we've adjusted for it. And part of it is, you know, we do have affordable new in package, loose toys, all kinds of stuff. You know, so we already had stuff, but we've adjusted a little bit to make sure we have more kid-friendly items, and we're happy about it. That's what's going to keep this going for the next generation. You know, everybody says kids aren't reading comics. Okay, kids might not be reading new comics because they're $5 a piece, you know, and they're not marketed for kids properly anymore. I don't think. I mean, there are some great titles, but at $5 a pop, how many, you know, 8-year-olds do you know are going to be coming in and having 6 books on their pull and hold every week? So we have had a lot of young readers come in, and that's great with the dollar bins and the 50-cent bins for them. And then, of course, you know, like we're strong believers on, if you're a new reader and you don't really know what you like yet, come check out our graphic novel room, you know. And then, because you're getting roughly 5 to 7 issues consecutively in one book, you don't have to go hunt them down. And in our graphic novel room, our pricing, which I think we're going to do an actual video on that here soon, you know, you might actually be saving some money. You're not dropping 18 to 25 bucks for that TPB. You're going to pay 3 to 15 maybe, you know, like depending on what it is. Most of them are under $10, you know, so it's great for kids. It really gets them in, and we have actually noticed parents bringing kids back because they loved it and they want more. So that's great. Their kids they will get into the hobby and the excitement of it, given the right stuff and resources. We need more of that. See, every time I talk, I'm like, oh yeah, I got another point. I say it in my head, and then I finish the point I was on and forget what that other point was. I don't know. I guess maybe it's time I wrap it up. I'll give you a little teaser of what I'm going to look at, though. Like I said, long list of books. Some big Silver Age keys in there. I'm not going to go through titles or anything like that. And then when you get into the modern, late bronze, really modern stuff, some of those books, there's 3 to 4 of. Lots of them, there's duplicates, and we're talking like there's some duplication just in the fodder, but keys. Like, I do know one thing, like, this is not a big deal, but it's one thing I will say, because there's other stuff we're really gonna make some content on if we get this. You know, there's 4 copies of the first Better Ray bill, so the collector had an eye and knew. You know, there's things like that throughout. One other thing, there's, I believe, 3 or 4 full sets of the Frank Miller Wolverine. You know, again, collector had an eye, knew what to invest in, but then collected what he wanted to. You know, there's full runs of stuff, lots of independent, but there is a lot of the heavy hitter stuff, lots of first appearances. Collectibles, it looks like there's a wide mix, toys, statues, stuff like that. So hopefully this works out and I don't make a video driving home crying. I may upload this while I'm driving instead of waiting for Wi-Fi when I get home or back to the shop. That way, if I do the other video, I don't drop them consecutive, you know, right back to back, you know, at 10 o'clock at night or something like that. I think that's it, man. None of the other points came back to me. I know I forgot some stuff, so again, I guess that's the great thing, is I can always make more of these and annoy you guys more. So there's that. Thanks for your time. Sorry, got a little long-winded today, but that's it. Have fun.